Hi guys, it's Friday, July 31. I'm recording this in my car while I'm driving. I wanted to share this idea with you guys or run it by you first so that we can help me like critique it and then comment on it, give me your feedback, and if you want to be a part of it, let me know. So I've been mulling this whole thing about the Philippines for a while now and thinking about how I could help or how I could contribute or how we could help and contribute, right? It seems like we can't just sit around and watch this whole thing disintegrate. So here's my thought. Really, the problem is education. Like, everybody is just getting stupider, and we need an entire generation or future generations need to be smarter or get educated better. And so I was thinking, what have I learned from living and working here in the States, and then how we could apply it to the Philippines, and then with our resources and maybe our mental capacity, if you will, mental capabilities, we can make it happen. So what I noticed here in the States is every city, even the poorest city, has a library, which obviously doesn't exist in the Philippines. I feel like the only libraries I ever got to in the Philippines was in school. So one in Ateneo, one in UP. That's it. But here, every city has a library. So I was thinking, of course, we can't have a library for each city. Can't construct a physical library. That's just going to be too resource intensive, right? But here in the States, I don't know if this is the whole nation, but in certain cities, I see this thing called the Little Free Library. So it's really just a locker or a box that people put outside of their houses or in the corners of streets, and then people can put books in there for anybody and everybody to get, right? So now we can't do something similar, or I can't do something similar like that in the Philippines, because as we know in the Philippines, nanakawin lang yan or mawawala. So I was thinking like a book booth or a booth with books, but there's a lock, and then you can use a lock box that can be opened by a mobile phone via app or via Bluetooth, just so it's trackable as to who opened the box or the booth, and then pick out a book. Right now, after that, what's preventing somebody to just steal all the books or just steal one book and never bring it back? So I was thinking a registration feature can be done so that a student or whoever needs to log on to something online first through their smartphone. And we know smartphones are kind of prevalent, or they are prevalent everywhere in the Philippines, even in the poorest cities, right? So they have access to Facebook, so definitely they have smartphones and they have access to data, right? So they can download the app or log onto a website, register so that they can unlock the lockbox, and then they can also pick out a book. Now, the book itself, we can put some kind of tracking device so that we know where it is. I'm just thinking this through, but I'm trying to voice it out so that the entire idea has shape and it's end to end, right? And it's not just a concept and not just a thought. So the lockbox and the tracking devices in the books. Next step is, what are the books? So I was thinking, personally, I was doing this thing where I would curate 40 books, just 40 books, because I don't have infinite space in my place, so I can't have all the books that I want there. So I was trying to do this thing where I would curate it. So I was thinking something like just 40 books in that mini library or in that mini book box that we can put, that are crucial for education or development, right? Now, as I was doing my research online, I would look at the 100 best books or the 50 best books, and I saw that a lot of them are really, it's too much. Like the Iliad or the Odyssey or Great Gatsby. If you're 11 years old or you're 12 years old, there's no way you can read that. It'll just go over your head. So anyway, I guess my thought is for every stage in life, and we can break that down by age. We should have the definitive 40 books that you read. If you're 8 years old, if you're 9 years old, if you're 10 years old, and so on and so forth, you get the idea. And then you have a booth for each. And you can spread that around any city, any barrio, any barangay, or whatever it is, right? We can figure that out later. But that's the idea. Now, how do you fund something like this? I'm thinking, because in the States there's just so many resources, right? There's a lot of people who would either donate the books. You know, you can go to these publishers and tell them what you're trying to do in the Philippines, and they would readily give you the books. There's a lot of surplus existing. Or you can do a fund. You know, you can apply for a fund and say this is what you're gonna do, or this is what we're trying to do in the Philippines, and they will give you the money to do that. So there, the idea is to revolutionize the youth, make them more educated, so that in the future they can make better choices and just be better because they're educated. Through mini libraries in barangays and in cities all over the Philippines, not just Manila, okay? And then the books are really, you can put them up in any street. It's a booth, you know. There's no office, there's no building, there's no structure that's required. It's really just a thing that you can erect on a street, and then the lockbox will keep it secure, and then the books can be trackable, and then the selection of books will be per stage, per age, or per development. We can discuss that later on. And then you choose the best, like the most essential, not the best, the essential for every stage in life, and then take it from there. Please help me give the idea form, like help me flesh it out better, so that we can do our part in contributing to the Philippines. Hindi naman pwedeng nagpayaman na lang tayo or whatever, we stand by and don't do anything, right? Let's try to start something, and maybe that inspires somebody else to do something. But at least let's do our part as friends and as classmates and as you know, 4A94, whatever that means. All right. Let me know if you want to discuss it in the group, or if you want to send me a private message. That's fine too. So thanks for hearing me out, and please help me flesh it out. Thank you.